Are you keen on schooling? We love schooling. We want to have knowledge. We want to learn to read so that we can get good jobs. But we don't have any uniforms. The dress I am wearing is the one I use at home, the one I play in, and it is the same dress I wear when I come to school because we don't have a uniform in our school. What job do you want after you complete your education? I want to be a soldier so that I can fight for my country. And what after that? I would like to be a teacher so that I can teach the women who are illiterate, who did not receive education in the past. Does your own mother know how to read and write? No. And your father? Yes, he does. Okay, you others here. You say you wish to learn and acquire knowledge so that you can help your mothers. How are you going to help them?
Disons, la langue qui est enseignée en Algérie, c'est l'arabe classique, c'est l'arabe qu'on enseigne aux gosses dans les écoles, mais ce n'est pas du tout la langue du peuple, c'est une langue importée de l'Orient. Par contre, les langues...
The language taught in Algeria is classical Arab, the one taught to kids at school, but it is by no means the language of the people.
Il y a différentes régions berbères. Il y a aussi différentes régions qui parlent l'arabe populaire.
On the contrary, the spoken languages in Algeria are Berber and common or popular Arab. Neither language is structured since they are not dealt with by the state, but the form of both languages is very similar.
L'ossature de l'arabe populaire, c'est la même ossature, de même que pour le berbère.
Je peux là même citer un exemple. En arabe populaire,
I'll give you an example. I'm writing is...
Alors, qu'est-ce que ça
What does this mean? It means, look at me, writing. In Berber we say, and this means, look at me, writing. It's exactly the same structure.
La langue arabe populaire, c'est une langue qui a...
Popular Arab is totally different from classical Arab, totally.
C'est totalement différent de la langue arabe classique. C'est tout à fait différent.
Oui, et il y a, disons, il y a un processus de mort de ces deux langues qui est mis en place par le pouvoir aujourd'hui.
There is a process of destroying these two languages, which has been set in motion by those in power today. Yes, it's not in their interest to let people express themselves in their own languages, at school or anywhere else. All the demands that can be formulated are conveyed by a language. That's where everything starts from.
C'est ça qu'ils veulent instaurer une langue classique qui vient d'en haut, donc qui est très très loin des réalités populaires.
That's why the authorities want to establish an official language coming from above and consequently cut off from the reality of the people.
The pre-war city of Hamburg. Modern department stores, canals, bridges, and the middle class who support Hitler. The old quarters crowded with the working class, Neustadt, St. Pauli, Baumberg-Ullenhorst, described by the Nazis as these breeding grounds of communism. Beginning in 1933, the old quarters were razed to the ground by the authorities to prevent their giving shelter to those opposing the entrenching Nazi regime. What remained of the old working-class quarter in Hamburg after this deliberate destruction was finally razed to the ground by Operation Gomorrah in July 1943, when the British Royal Air Force dropped 2,500 tons of high explosive on these people in one night, leaving 70,000 dead, the same number as in Nagasaki, and 3,25 million homeless.
Und nun qualmte doch alles auch in den Räumen. Und da sahen wir einen Raum, wo kein Qualm war. Und da sah ich noch den Kollegen von meiner Arbeitsstelle.
And there was smoke everywhere in the factory, even inside the rooms. And then we saw a room without smoke. And then I glimpsed this colleague from my working place. And then we ran into this room. There were barrels all over the place. And suddenly this room is also swept with smoke. And now I can't find the entrance. And I was wandering about, my child always with me. And this colleague's name was Jürgensen. I cried out. I hardly had a voice. And this man had the presence to strike a match. It went out again at once, but it had shown me where the door was.
Aber für mich war das die Rettung. Ich habe die gesehen, wo die Tür ist. Bin in der Richtung weitergekrochen oder weitergelaufen, nicht? So langsam, man konnte ja gar nicht schnell laufen, weil die Fässer da doch überall standen. Und da kam ich wieder raus auf den Fabrikhof und stürmte aber auch auf dem Fabrikhof das Feuer. Und das war neben dem Fabrikhof, da stand noch ein Haus, da wohnte immer der Pförtner drin. Aber das war auch ein richtiges kleines Wohnhaus. Und da bin ich mit meinen Jungen an der Hand da reingestürmt.
And so I got out into the factory yard again. And the fire was storming in the yard as well. So we rushed into the house where the porter lived. Everything behind us was burning. And we were glad that we got air, that we could breathe again.
Weggelaufen und ich komme nur mit meinen Jungen so in dieses Haus rein und freuten uns, dass wir Luft kriegten, dass wir wieder atmen konnten. Und mit dem Mal sehe ich, wie am Treppengeländer und im Treppenhaus auch Feuer kommt.
Then suddenly I saw fire coming down the railing of the staircase, like a glowing caterpillar crawling down. So I thought, we have to get out of here as well. But out on the street, the storm was raging and pieces of fire were flying through the air.
Der Sturm so getobt und die Feuerstücke, die flogen so durch die Luft. Und man sah nur, ich habe nur noch in Erinnerung, dass rundherum überall Koffer und alle möglichen Sachen auf der Straße lagen, was die Leute alles in ihrer Angst weggeschmissen hatten.
And I remember that everywhere there were suitcases and all kinds of things lying on the street that people had thrown away in their panic.
This is the man from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. He's the Chief Public Relations Spokesman. He's the man with the plan for what to do in the unlikely event, of a nuclear war. He's pointing out how if you're one of the people who live in the target area, that the best thing to do, given 3 to 7 days advance notice, is to drive out to a designated host area where outlying people will be willing to put you up for the duration. This is referred to as crisis relocation planning. This facility is called Underground Vault and Storage. It's in Hutchinson, Kansas, in an abandoned salt mine 600 feet below the surface of the earth. Its purpose is to store all kinds of records, papers, microfilms. Among other things, it houses the complete MGM collection of films. And recently, people just discovered a virgin print of Gone with the Wind that contained footage not seen in any of the other prints that had been released commercially. Officials from Underground Vault and Storage are proud of the fact that this facility will protect people's records from all sorts of disasters, and especially from what they refer to as the Big Banana.
520 million dollars.
Да, так вот, чтобы еще раз представить это, что вот это вот заштрихованный квадратик, это вот те.
So, to imagine it another way, you can think that this one black square represents the 100 million tons of high explosive equivalent that would be sufficient to destroy the planet, so that it would become something like the moon, a frozen planet. This is only one small part of the actual nuclear arsenal.
Эта мощь в 750 раз превышает всю мощь, которую использовали люди, воюя на протяжении всей своей истории. То есть сейчас в 750 раз больше разрушительной силы, чем было использовано до настоящего времени.
And this is the nuclear arsenal of the United States and the USSR today.
И это арсенал, которым располагает Советский Союз и Соединенные Штаты вместе.
Не зря говорят, что слова заставляют задуматься.
It's not for nothing, they say.
Графики.
You can forget words, but graphs and images remain with you.
Эх, если бы всю эту энергию да в мирных целях бы пустить.
I wish all this could be used for peaceful purposes. We have to understand that there is a large bear somewhere in the east, and that is why we have to defend ourselves. These pictures fill me with the same horror as anybody else. I don't wish such a thing to happen here or anywhere else. Neither do I want nuclear weapons outside my door. But at the same time, I don't want my door to be opened and a Russian out there with 2 weapons to destroy me without question, if I have nothing with which to defend myself. That may be, Donald John, but I'm not prepared for the Americans to put a store of bombs outside my door to destroy me. I think there is more than one bear on the earth. Yes, but it depends on whether you believe in the kind of society you have and that you want to protect it. Or is it these devils in Russia who will bring down a plane out of the sky in pieces in which there are over 100 people without one question or concern about it? And what about the devils who exploded that? Oh, I agree with you. Surely you can put the same amount of blame on those who exploded that and caused that destruction. Look at this evidence in front of you. They didn't give a damn, and that was America. Now, I don't believe that the blame should be apportioned to one government or one country. All the countries are very guilty.
No, I'd heard nothing. And I found during the filming that it was very frightening to think that people would look at us for security and direction, and to find out that really we couldn't give them the help that they wanted in the direction that they wanted. It was really frustrating.
"20 minutes later.
She didn't ask me how I'm not in the family. She just told me to come over here with Dad. She told me to come over here with Dad.
And I think as we went along, we realized how people were starting to panic, and as they came into their roles, that this would be disastrous. We'd have to have a lot more direction than we had, and a lot more help. And without that, there's no way the plan could work.
I did not know anything about the Civil Defense Plan. I did not know I would have any type of role in that situation. And honestly, I don't really know if someone approached me, if really I wouldn't just get up and leave.
From Saturday, the filming, I found out that my mind cannot really comprehend chaos. I can comprehend complete confusion from Saturday. But it wasn't really chaos. And I've been contemplating, trying to imagine what chaos would really be. I mean, we were all acting. We all knew what we were doing. The confusion was tremendous. But we didn't even touch on chaos.
I haven't been registered.
You haven't been registered.
I couldn't get in there.
You must wait online. It'll take a while to get you registered.
It'll take a while.
Wait right here.
These are the remaining primary, military and civilian targets in the surrounding area of the northeastern United States and southeastern Canada. And these, the secondary targets, smaller cities and military bases. If each target was hit by a single megaton bomb, this would be the resulting radioactive fallout. And it would be likely that a large majority of those living under these plumes would experience radiation sickness. Many would die.
これは4つほどですね。1つ2つじゃったらもう自分の足も熱いわけなんです。で、まあ足へかけるのもかけるし、それから似たような人がおったらこれあげて水飲まして。
On the way, whenever I saw a man who looked like my father, I asked him if he was my father or not. People were so badly injured that nobody could tell who they were. They all said yes. Even though I knew they were not my father, I gave them a cup of water from my water bottles. I think it was as many as 150 people that I gave a cup of water to. And because I did so, they died right after it.
最後の水を取ったその気持ちがですね、未だにまだ忘れられん。
This still stays in my mind. What do you say about this question? We do not support that, because our mothers are illiterate and ignorant. And you want them to get some education also. Yes. Some of the women are unable to tell you if you give them money and ask them to count it, because they have no education. And therefore you want both boys and girls to receive an education.
Also ich persönlich glaube das nicht. Ich meine, dass die Sowjetunion nicht angreifen wird mit ihren Waffen, wenn die NATO hier ihre Waffen zurückzieht.
I personally do not believe that the Soviet Union would attack if the NATO were to withdraw its nuclear weapons here. I believe that Russia is keeping prepared for a conventional war rather than for a war with atomic weapons.
Krieg mit Atomwaffen.
But I know that among my teaching colleagues there are many who think we need more nuclear weapons, or that there must be an equality in the number of these weapons. I cannot understand that, and I always feel threatened by so many weapons on both sides.
Immer noch von so viel Waffen auf beiden Seiten bedroht. Aber ich weiß nicht, wie das in deinem Kreis ist, Martina, und ich weiß nicht.
But I don't know how it is for you, Martina, and among your friends.
Nur für mich und meine Gefühle, die ich habe in dieser Beziehung.
Ich habe auch mit vielen Leuten gesprochen. Ja, es ist so weit gegangen, dass ich mich mit manchen Leuten regelrecht erzürnt habe.
I have also talked to many people. And I really got angry with some of them who felt that there must be an increase in nuclear weapons. But we can destroy mankind 95 times already. Why continue arming? But then armament seemed to be nothing more than a business. And in the end, everything is paid by the taxpayer.
Dann verstehe ich eine weitere Aufrüstung nicht mehr zur Selbstverteidigung und zur weiteren Kriegsführung, sondern dann ist die Aufrüstung für mich scheinbar nur.
Personally, I am not of the opinion that Russia would be the first to use atomic weapons here. That I don't believe.
Aber ich bin nicht der Meinung, persönlich bin ich nicht der Meinung, dass der Russe als Erster die Atombombe einsetzen wird, beziehungsweise eine Atomwaffe hier einsetzen wird. Das glaube ich nicht. Ich weiß nicht, wie du das siehst, aber...
Auch ich habe mit vielen Leuten schon darüber gesprochen.
I have also talked to many people, and sure, some thought that if we unilaterally disarmed, there would always be the problem that we would be weaker.
Entschließen würden, einen Schritt nach vorne zu tun, abzurüsten, in irgendeiner Weise irgendwo mal.
That we would be the ones who would be threatened by the Warsaw Pact.
Dass wir ja die Schwächeren sein würden. Und wir diejenigen sein würden, die bedroht würden von dem Warschauer Pakt.
The 64-acre Piskaryevskoye Memorial Cemetery in Leningrad, testifying to the horror of the 900-day German siege of this city, which began here in September 1941 and which lasted through 2 of the worst winters in Russian memory. 750,000 lives were lost, most from starvation. They lie here beneath these mounds, each a grave for 10,000 people.
Ich persönlich bin der Meinung,
but personally, I am of the opinion that one side must start, must disarm in one way or
in
another.
irgendeiner Weise. Und ich glaube, wenn man dem Warschauer Pakt bzw. dem östlichen
And I believe that if we would show such a withdrawing to the Warsaw Pact, then negotiations would be possible and could begin.
Da würden schon Verhandlungen möglich sein und in die Gänge geleitet werden können.
Да, просто меня вывезли маленькую с детским садиком, и больше я их не видела. Я так и воспитывалась в детском доме.
She was evacuated as all kids were, and then after she returned, she couldn't find her parents.
Could you tell us about that?
А вы могли бы рассказать об этом что-то, о том, как это было? О том, как вы были эвакуированы и потом, как вы вернулись?
Детей в первую очередь спасали из осажденного города или там.
The kids were the first to be evacuated from the besieged city. I was only 5. I didn't understand it then. But when I grew older, I started thinking about why other children had parents and I didn't.
Стала думать о том, почему у других есть отец и мать, а у меня нет. Так. Помню. Единственное, что помню, что долго везли пароходом, поездом.
I only remember a long voyage on board a boat and in a train. I remember the way the train jolted, and we were always falling down from our berths. Later, I found out the driver was doing it intentionally, trying to save us from the bombs.
Назад. Да, ну, потом уже позднее я сообразила, это уже в зрелом возрасте, что это машинист вынужден был, чтобы не угодить под бомбы, он рывок вперед, либо назад. Вот мы вот так, да. Потом помню, где-то в степи.
Somewhere in the steppe, I remember, the train was bombed, and we got out of the cars, and there a group of wounded soldiers shielded us with their bodies. I remember only a long trip on carts. The little ones had plastic bands on their wrists with their names printed on ink, not to get lost. Being scared by the bombing, many of the children ran to the forest. Many of them never came back from the forest because there were fewer and fewer children in the train. I remember a village where women were crying, giving us bilberries. The women were all crying. At last we reached our destination, where we lived until we grew up. As our parents had died during the war, we remained there until we came of age.
Потом ехали опять пароходом и наконец приехали там, где мы уже жили вот, пока не выросли, да. Ну, а поскольку родители у нас погибли в войну, значит, мы так и остались там до совершеннолетия.
It was very, very important, Peter, what Lydia said, and I wish there will be a possibility to reproduce everything exactly in the language the people who are watching the film know.
Well, would you then, listening to Lydia talk about her experiences in World War II, makes me ask something which I think is very important. Would you ask, in turn, Lydia and Masha and Alexander, what they would say to people in the West who say that Russia wants war?
Питер просит меня сейчас обратиться к вам по очереди с одним и тем же вопросом. Что бы вы ответили тому на Западе, кто считает, что Россия хочет войны? Маша, что бы вы ответили?
По-моему, этот человек просто плохо знает нашу страну. Или не хочет знать.
I think this person doesn't know our country or doesn't want to know it. If he knew all that happened to our country during those 5 years of war, he would certainly change his opinion. Why should we destroy what we have built up with such difficulty?
Никогда. Мы не хотим войны. Зачем нам нужно разрушение того, что мы с таким трудом построили? Нам этого не нужно.
We don't want war.
Нам нужно, чтобы все люди на планете, она у нас одна, чтобы все дружили.
We want all people on our planet to live in peace and friendship, to get to know each other better than now. We all live on the same planet.
Нужно бороться за мир всеми силами.
Лида, что бы вы ответили бы?
Lydia, what would you say?
Вы знаете, что мне, наверное, более категорично.
I believe that such a person is simply crazy.
Потому что я не знаю больше,
Ясно.
Ну.
Да, пожалуй, нечего добавить.
Не знаю.
And there is nothing else to add.
今度は西の方から中央部じゃなくて今度はどちらにしてもお城の真ん中を中心にして北か南か西かを探すわけですから。
Hamburg Central Railway Station.
朝9時半ごろ出よう思うたんです。
One morning, as I was about to leave, my landlord got a message from the police station that my father had been found in the first aid station of an elementary school. I hurried there on my bicycle. Hundreds of miserably injured people were lying on the floor. Then my father saw me and called out in a loud voice, "I'm here. I'm here."
小学校の宿舎、そこを仮の陸軍の病院になってるわけですね。原爆の収容所ですか、診療所みたいな、そこで、そこにおるという警察電話があった。
A nuclear war bunker built to accommodate 1,500 people for 2 weeks. This bunker is situated in the center of Hamburg and is only a few meters beneath the surface of the street.
それでそこの私の避難しとるところへ連絡が。私はもう命がけで自転車こいで行ったわけなんです。はい。その間で壁の警察署へ行きまして、で少し行ったら小学校がございました。その小学校の中にもう無残な人がいっぱいおるわけです。もう数百名。その中で父を探そう思う。僕は割と体が元気な、足が元気なかったです。で大きな声で親父って探すわけにもいかないし、そうしよったら向こうの方か、親父の方から「ここだここだ」言うて。
Dann kam da ja dann der Angriff. Also beziehungsweise erstmal 1 Uhr der Alarm.
The alarm went at 1 o'clock, and we looked out of the window at the bookbinders and saw these flare bombs falling down.
Nun fielen denn die Bomben zahlreicher. Und das fing auch wirklich an, schon ganz schön zu schauen, und trotzdem, dass ein ganz massives Gebäude war.
And then a great many bombs fell, and the office began to swing, even though it was quite a solid building. With the other man I was working with, we tried to get into a shelter downstairs, but they wouldn't open it to let us in, because if a bomb exploded outside at that moment, all the occupants would be dead from the blast. So they sacrificed those standing outside.
Hier hatten wir auch einen Torweg, hier und da durch. Da wollte ich zur Hauptfeuerwache, nicht? Weil ich weiß, die lassen einen denn rein. Und aber wie ich
Then I ran out into the street, but I had only gone a couple of meters when the bombs burst down here, and I went back, full of panic, and there, I cannot tell you exactly where it was. In that state, you are completely out of your mind. I fell, or more or less stumbled, into a bomb crater, and I just stayed there, totally apathetic. I just thought, where one bomb has exploded, another won't burst right away. And then 2 other people came in, and there were flying sparks coming in on us.
Da kam mittlerweile dann auch schon mal so ein Funkenflug auf, ne, und dann musste man immer ich hatte ja einen Stahlhelm, hatte ich ja auf, ne, diesen Luftschutzhelm, ne, und die Uniform, die musste ab und zu, die fing sonst an zu glimmen, und da kam eine Holzplanke, so eine leichtere angewirbelt.
And then a wooden board came spinning along, and it placed itself over the crater, and we pulled it over us so that we could be safe from the flying sparks.
Und es wurde unangenehm warm, denn allmählich, ne? Das war die Häuser, die brannten wohl mehr oder minder. Das war, wie soll ich sagen, es war hell und doch nicht hell, ne? Durch den Rauch und durch den, hell war das wohl mehr durch den Funkenflug.
First, there came a bombardment of what seemed to be thousands of bombs. I read later that it lasted just a quarter of an hour, but I didn't have any feeling for time, and I was completely worn out.
Aber das ging innerhalb einer Viertelstunde, muss das ungefähr gewesen sein. Ich habe es erst später gelesen, dass das so lange gewesen ist.
And after that came the heavy single explosions of the high explosive bombs. They really were worse. They were very, very strong.
Auch da waren noch so traurige Sachen. Da war eine alte Frau, die hatte so viel Taschen.
There was an old woman who held a lot of bags in her hand, and one of the bags had fallen into the water of the canal. She was also standing in the water, and all these letters and papers were swimming on the water, but everybody just let it swim. And the old woman was standing there helplessly in the water.
Aber wir stürmten ja dann alle weiter.
She didn't know what she should do, but we all rushed on.
Bill Hendricks is being arrested because he does not possess a signed and dated host-area auto-use authorization form. This absurdity is just one aspect of our nuclear society as we are now organizing it. What do you feel about this?
He'll be all right. He's going to take care of the family. Just sit in the car and wait for him. Get back in the car. Yes, get out of the way.
It should of course be stated that a nuclear missile falling on a Norwegian town could come from anywhere. It could be a malfunctioning missile from an American or British submarine, a mid-range rocket from the Soviet Union, or an errant cruise missile from an American ship or plane. And a Norwegian admiral revealed that a NATO military exercise in 1980 dropped a NATO atom bomb on Tromsø in Norway to deny that seaport to invading Soviet forces. The bomb shelter of this school in Stjørdal does not have room for all the children. Neither does a small bomb room in the basement of an adjacent house. These Norwegian children can be Soviet children, can be American children, can be British children, can be French children, can be Swedish children, can be German children, can be Japanese children, can be Danish children, can be Canadian children, can be Belgian children, can be Libyan children, can be Hawaiian children, can be Greek children, can be Marshall Island children, can be Chinese children, can be Turkish children, can be Polish children.
Close.